Feeding time now on BBC One, and it's the finest of cuisine to be served up by this week's contestants on MasterChef.
Welcome back to MasterChef 1996. After what seems like no time at all, we've reached the last of our regional finals in our search for the best amateur cook in the nation. Our last three contestants all live in London, and as always, I shall be asking them to cook a championship quality three-course meal for four with £30 to spend and 2.5 hours on the kitchen clock. They're each allowed to bring in 5 items from their own kitchens at home. Later on, we'll see what those are. But first, let's meet today's intrepid cooks. In the red kitchen, Charlotte Bircher. She's from Fulham. Charlotte's head of the Education and Training Department at the Inner Temple. And her most hectic time is when she has to instruct the new season's barristers on the ceremony in which they are called to the bar. Charlotte keeps in trim by pounding up and down the temperate waters of her local pool, with the occasional dip in the jacuzzi as a reward. And she and her friends are guaranteed just the right look for any occasion with Charlotte's impressive collection of home-baked jewelry. In the yellow kitchen, Noriko Anzai Jackson. She's from West London. Before emigrating from Japan, Noriko worked as a dentist, but she's abandoned teeth in favor of her young family. Alice is 3 and Akira 18 months, and they're both learning to speak Japanese as well as English. When time allows, Noriko works as a freelance translator using an intriguing Japanese and English word processor. And when the children are in bed, she relaxes at her piano with a little gentle Schubert. Finally, in the blue kitchen, our second legal eagle, Andrew Urbanek, a solicitor from Snaresbrook, and that's in East London. Andrew's a keen skier and limbers up for his annual visit to the Alps with a few descents of the less exotic piste at Harlow's impressive dry ski slope. A competitive animal, Andrew and friend Steve have a series of squash matches on the go, which have lasted some 4 years. At the moment, Andrew is just 10 games ahead. But this is nothing to the cutthroat atmosphere which pervades Andrew's regular poker school, where the beer flows freely and the stakes are high.
Thank you very much.
Not as high as they are today. Welcome to all of you. Now it's time to find out what you're going to be cooking. So, Charlotte, let's have your menu.
I'm cooking a red onion tart, followed by pork wrapped in spinach and bacon with a mushroom stuffing, parsnip puree, spinach and broccoli, and then a Cointreau ice cream with a blueberry coulis and hazelnut biscuits.
Great. We haven't had enough ice cream this year. Noriko, your menu?
For the starter, I cook seafood dumplings, and to the main course, I cook chicken sauté with ginger sauce, parsley rice, Japanese mushroom fritters, and 3-color vegetable stir-fry. For dessert, I cook marble chocolate mousse with fresh berries.
Well, that's the first appearance of Japanese food ever on MasterChef, so I'm very thrilled. Andrew, what have you got for us?
The first course is a mixed herb salad with quail's eggs, pancetta and parmesan. The main course is poached fillet of turbot on a bed of creamed spinach and fresh tagliatelle with a tomato butter sauce and roasted cherry tomatoes. And the pudding is a pear and almond tart with amaretto ice cream.
Good. Ice cream twice today. That's a very good sign. We had a Londoner in the final last year, so I'm full of very high expectations for you. Good luck. Have a really good time. And let's get cooking. one of the largest and most glamorous catering operations in the world must be that of the QE2. The man responsible for feeding the 2,800 passengers and crew aboard is Executive Chef Jonathan Wicks.
Queen Elizabeth II, 7 passenger restaurants, 4 crew mess rooms, 190 tons of fresh produce weekly, 300 staff in the kitchens producing up to 12,000 meals a day, keeps us all pretty busy. Throughout the day we serve everything from romantic lunches to luxurious dinners, great British breakfasts, afternoon tea, as well as catering to all nationalities and diets. This is one of my many favourite dishes that we serve in the Queen's Grill restaurant upstairs. We take some avocado, press it down quite well. We're going to take some fresh crab meat. Then what we do is we take a little cream whisked with some fresh horseradish. Just smooth it off, and then we're going to unmold it onto the plate very delicately. What I'd like to do is dress it, a gazpacho vinaigrette, some Sabruga caviar from Russia, nice fresh sprig of fresh herb, some little twirls that I've made. So there you have it, avocado and crab tartare, Queen Elizabeth II style, as served in this beautiful floating restaurant.
Well, Jonathan, welcome aboard. Tell me, what are the biggest differences between cooking at sea and cooking in a more conventional kitchen?
Our biggest challenge really is making sure that we have everything we need on board prior to the ship sailing, because if not, then we're going to have to be a little bit creative in what we prepare. That's the one big challenge, and the second one is obviously sometimes we do hit some inclement weather, and it can be difficult to cook in those situations, and you have to be very careful.
A major new phenomenon in restaurants is this thing called ordering off the menu, where you just order what you want, regardless what's on the menu. Do you get people doing that on board?
Well, yes, definitely. We call it off the cuff, actually. In 3 of our restaurants, that definitely is something that's available to our passengers, the grill restaurants. And people can sort of order any specific recipe from their favorite chef, or they can order a specific piece of meat that you know we wouldn't feature on the regular menu, because like kangaroo or something like that. And then just because they don't really fancy anything that we're sort of featuring on our menu that day.
What's a really frightening off-the-cuff request?
There isn't one, I don't think. I think
you can cope with anything.
If we have it on board, yes. It could be anything. We were currently in Australia a few days ago, and we had a lot of emu and kangaroo and crocodile requests. People just want to try it for this, just because we're in that part of the world. Whilst we were in Japan, Kobe beef obviously is a big favourite, but seafood is very popular also, especially in Australia. The spiny lobsters, the fresh oysters, and things like that. And if we don't feature them on the menu, then people will ask us if we have it on board.
Where are you looking forward to going to?
On the World Cruise, Cape Town, South Africa. It's a tremendous place. We haven't been there for a couple of years. It's a very nice stay for us because we're there for 2 days. And I have some friends down there to visit, so that's always very pleasant for me.
Right. Well, we have an even more exciting destination for you now, because we're going into the kitchens, and we'll start with Red.
Excellent.
Hello.
Hi.
Red onions for the tart.
Excellent. Why are you using red onions?
Because I like them.
Because you like them, right?
No, because I think they taste better.
They're slightly sweeter, aren't
Yes,
they?
and I
Which
put a
is
bit
nice.
of sugar in as well. They're going to be slightly
We
caramelised.
call them
Bermuda onions.
Bermuda onions, that's
Oh,
it.
right.
You're just frying them off.
With a bit of sugar and
Right.
olive oil, and then I put a bit of balsamic vinegar in at the
Excellent.
end.
This is for the tart,
For
is
the
it?
tart, yeah.
So you've got to make sure you don't burn them, because if not they
Exactly.
taste bitter, don't
That's
they?
right.
Right.
I've done that one in the past.
And what else is going into that? Is that going to have some Gruyere or something
no,
in
it's
it, or
going to
just
have.
egg?
It's got eggs and cream, and then the pastry's made with garlic and olive oil. So it's quite.
Sounds nice.
How much did you spend? Everyone can spend £30. How much?
£29.44.
Oh, that's very good. You can come and work for me anytime.
So there is 56 pence worth of change rattling around in this kitchen.
Something
somewhere.
goes horribly wrong.
Excellent.
Just call me.
We'll be back.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlotte. Doing something interesting with prawns.
Hello, Narika.
Those are beautiful prawns.
Yeah.
They're tiger prawns, aren't they?
Yes, telephone.
Yes, you can tell by the blackness of them,
Yeah.
sort of thing. They're beautiful.
At first I used just ordinary prawns. I didn't know there's this kind of prawn here.
Right.
But I found this one, so I think much better taste.
Tell me about your seafood dumplings. Is it a Japanese style dumpling?
Yes, yes, but most Japanese and Chinese and a bit of English mixture, I think.
What's the English bit?
Ah,
What sort of seafood is going into it? Prawns?
just prawn, crab meat. So that's part.
What sort of Japanese mushroom are you using? The shiitake?
Shiitake and the other one,
Enoki?
shimeji. This one, shimeji.
Oh, shimeji. Oh, yes, they're
those
wonderful.
are so lovely, and I
Yes.
love the way they grow in clusters like that.
Definitely.
Wonderful. I look forward to these dinners. Thank you. Excellent. Gosh, Andrew, we've been admiring your fish up on the wall, and now here it is in person.
Definitely.
Now, why did you choose turbot?
I like the texture of it, I think, more than anything. It's a nice sort of firm, meaty fish. It's one of my favourites.
So you're just doing that sort of en papillon, yeah?
Or just baking it in the oven for sort of
Nice and
15,
moist.
20 minutes.
Excellent way of
With a
cooking it.
good seal.
Yeah.
And what have you brought in for specialist equipment?
The stuff to make the pasta, really, the pasta machine,
Oh,
and
right.
the television aerial thing to hang it on, and the tarts to make the tins to make the tarts in.
Oh, right, for your little parent almond
Yeah.
tarts.
Yeah.
I hope you make plenty of them.
I hope so too, yes. I think
We'll
it's
be
quite
back.
adventurous making the pasta, actually. That's quite difficult, isn't it?
A bit time consuming.
What sort of base? Yes. What sort of base did you make? Just flour or
Yeah, it's,
semolina flour?
No, just the strong white bread flour and egg and olive oil.
Right. Yes.
So quite simple.
Well, it is. Yes. Until you start rolling it out.
Well, that's right.
Good. We'll
Excellent.
watch that. Right. Well, that'll be a very exciting moment when we come back to see Andrew's pasta. Should we talk about the menus?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, let's start off with Charlotte's. She's beginning with red onion tart, followed by pork wrapped in spinach and bacon with a mushroom stuffing, parsnip puree, broccoli and spinach to go with it, and finishing with Cointreau ice cream with a blueberry coulis and hazelnut cookies. How do you like the sound of that menu?
Very nice. I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to turn out. The red onion tart's very nice because sort of Mediterranean, south of France sort of thing, which is popular at the moment, you know.
And we know that Cointreau ice cream is your favourite.
Well, one of many ice creams, but yes, yes. I'm looking forward to trying that.
Yeah,
definitely.
I must say, it's a very tantalising menu.
Yeah.
Let's look at Noriko's menu. She's beginning with seafood dumplings, which we know being stuffed with tiger prawns and crab, and then going on to chicken sauté and ginger sauce with Japanese mushroom fritters, which I'm very excited about, parsley rice and 3-color vegetable stir fry, and her pudding is marbled chocolate mousse with raspberry and cassis sauce with fresh fruit. How does that menu tickle you?
Well, it's a nice light menu, actually. You know, you've got the seafood dumplings to start off with, which are fairly original, probably with a little dipping sauce or something, I suspect. And then the sautéed chicken, well, that will appeal to everybody, you know, to be a nice main course without it being too heavy.
What I like about it is that because we've got a very light first course and main course, we can totally pig out on the marbled
dessert.
chocolate mousse.
Definitely.
So I think that's going to be a very exciting menu. And as I say, I'm so looking forward to those mushroom fritters. Now, Andrew is doing a mixed herb salad with quail's eggs, pancetta, and parmesan shavings with a basil oil and balsamic vinegar dressing. And then moving on to poached turbot on cream spinach and fresh tagliatelle with tomato butter sauce and roast cherry tomatoes. His pudding is pear and almond tart with amaretto ice cream. What do you think?
Nice menu. I mean, it's got all sorts of different flavours, sort of obviously fairly Italian, sort of in style, but with, I'm sure, a lot of touches from Andrew and his cooking. Spinach, the pasta will be good. You know, I must admit that I like everything they're doing today.
I do as well.
I don't want to sound like a pig, but it's all my kind of food.
It is all looking pretty good. Now, our double dose of ice cream this evening has prompted us to make it the subject of our competition. To enter, all you do is call this number and tell me in which city did ice cream parlors first become popular way back in the 18th century. Was it A, Paris, B, New York, or C, Tokyo? Just call 0891 447711 and you could be the lucky winner whose name is drawn from the heap. The prize, as always, is a luxurious and wonderful night dining at the establishment of one of our MasterChef guest judges with accommodation thrown in. It's always a terrific evening. So do call. And you don't have to miss any of the program because, of course, the lines are open until Wednesday night. Good luck. Now, for those of you who entered last week's competition, you'll want to know that the ostrich was originally a native of Africa. How are you going to cook your dumplings now? Are they going to be, I forgot to ask you, are they going to be steamed, grilled?
Steam.
Are they steaming now?
No, here.
Oh, can we see them?
Yeah.
I'd like to. Oh.
Yeah, it is.
And they've been shredded, you see, which is nice. And what's the paste? What do you wrap them in? What is?
I wish I could make by myself, but I just buy.
Well, no, that you can't. It's very difficult. Better off buying it.
Tell me what you're marinating your chicken breast in.
Ginger and sake and soy sauce. That's it.
Good.
Very good.
Well, here in the Blue Kitchen, it's one of the most arduous things that can go on anywhere, is peeling quail's eggs, which I think is such a pain in the neck, although I love the way they taste. Is there any easy way to do it?
Yes, I mean, what Andrew's doing here is correct. What you do is you just, once you've boiled them, hard-boiled them, refresh them, crack them slightly, just in the pan, and then leave them in the water to soak for a few minutes, and it makes the whole sort of process of peeling a lot easier.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I don't know whether the water just soaks into the shell or what, but it does make it sort of a lot. And you can do that with any egg, really.
That was a handy hint.
So Charlotte, what are we doing here now?
I'm just wrapping these blanched spinach leaves around the pork.
Right, now you had an interesting way of doing that, because normally blanching to me is in boiling hot water with a little salt. Tell us what you did.
Well, I just blanched them in a microwave because I'm a bit lazy. I want to be quicker.
But it's a very good tip, actually, sort of thing.
Well, it keeps the leaves individual, whereas I think if you put them in water, you'd have to put each one individually and it would take ages.
Yeah. So I thought that was a very good idea. Why pork?
I suppose the pork tenderloin lends itself to this dish because it comes in the long strip, so it's easier.
Right. Pork is good. I like pork, so, you know, we're in luck here.
I'm delighted to welcome my second guest back to MasterChef. Hers is the voice that millions of women and more than a few men, including me, tune to most weekday mornings for Woman's Hour. She is, of course, Jenny Murray. Welcome, Jenny.
Thank you for inviting me back.
Tell me, not too long ago, Woman's Hour devoted a program to, well, sort of the state of British food. What were the most interesting things that emerged from that program?
One of the things that really worried and angered people was bread. I think in the week that we did the program, 3 traditional bakeries had closed down with the loss of 1,000 jobs. And the real beef was that supermarkets are producing bread that they call freshly baked bread. But in fact, in a lot of supermarkets, it's just frozen dough that's been brought into the supermarket, is baked on the day, but it still has lots of additives and risers and all of this sort of thing. And it's very hard now in this country to get a loaf that feels good and weighty and solid and really tastes good. And listeners were despairing that it was so difficult to find good bread. So, of course, inevitably a number of people phoned in and said, well, I've got a very good bread recipe. So the week after, we had a few people on giving, they said, easy recipes to do at home. I haven't yet had time to try them, but I shall. Because it is a problem. I don't know what you found. You presumably make all your own bread, do you? On
we do, yes. We bake 24 hours a day. So it's actually an ongoing thing. But it's true. I mean, even in France, where I live, their bread is sort of going out of fashion, and the bread industry has actually started doing adverts because people are eating. I mean, France, you don't sit down to food without some form of bread, be it a breakfast, lunch or dinner, so it's even more important over there.
Yes, because not so long ago, the Minister of Agriculture, I think it was, in France, said, our baguette is in danger. You know, in France, that is a major cultural statement.
It is. But in this country too, you know, I mean, the greatest thing in the world, I know you're not supposed to eat butter these days, but there's nothing like a slice of freshly baked bread that makes proper crumbs and you put butter on it nice and thickly. And
tell me about the 50th anniversary of Women's Hour.
It's extraordinary, isn't it, that a programme can be going for 50 years and still going so strong and still be just as popular and just as influential as ever it was. We're actually extremely proud. I am particularly proud because I've spent the last year writing a book which is 50 years of women in this country. And what is original and different about this one is that I've used the Woman's Hour archive as the source material. So I've been looking through the late 40s and the early 50s and feeling incredibly proud of...
I've got to leave you in the late 40s and early 50s. We'll all be able to read about it in October. The big green 10 has appeared on the video wall, and that means we've reached a critical point in the competition because there's just 10 minutes of cooking time left. Well, the flashing lights tell us that it's time to start eating, so dish up those dumplings and scoop out the ice cream. The cooking time's over. In the red kitchen, Charlotte Bircher started with red onion tart, followed by pork wrapped in spinach and bacon with a mushroom stuffing, parsnip puree, broccoli and spinach. For pudding, she served Cointreau ice cream with a blueberry coulis and hazelnut biscuits. Noriko Anzai Jackson in the yellow kitchen began with seafood dumplings. Her main course was a chicken sauté in ginger sauce with Japanese mushroom fritters, parsley rice, and a 3-color vegetable stir-fry. Noriko completed the meal with a marble chocolate mousse with raspberry and cassis sauce and fresh fruit. In the blue kitchen, Andrew Urbanak gave us a starter of mixed herb salad with quail's eggs, pancetta, and parmesan shavings with a basil oil and balsamic vinegar dressing. He followed this with poached turbot on creamed spinach with fresh tagliatelle, tomato butter sauce, and roast cherry tomatoes. His pudding was a pear and almond tart with amaretto ice cream. So we shall start off with the meal produced by Charlotte in the red kitchen. And she's kicking us off with a red onion tart, very beautifully garnished with a bit of purple basil.
Oh, it's basil. Can I go first?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Ooh, lovely.
I've
Crunchy
given you
onions.
enough of a head start.
You have.
Yes, and these onions have been very neatly caramelised, haven't
Well, they're perfect.
they? Oh,
They're really perfect.
that's really good, isn't it?
They're absolutely perfect.
Well, the pastry is very good. It's crumbly. I mean, you know, it almost sort of melts in the mouth, doesn't it?
So you'd give her a berth on the ship.
Not just for her
It might
pastry.
get better.
Right, okay. Excellent. And
Well, this looks beautiful
yes,
too.
I mean that's I wouldn't kick
Very
that off
elegant.
my table. That is pork wrapped in spinach and bacon with a mushroom stuffing, parsnip puree, and some broccoli and spinach.
Right, I'm going to try the parsnip puree because I happen to be particularly fond of parsnips.
Mmm.
Absolutely yummy. What
Does
else
it
is
have parmesan in it?
Yes, it does.
Oh,
There's
that
a
is good.
cheesy-
Yeah.
Cheesy flavour. Very
Ooh.
gorgeous. But what's this? This is
Look at it.
this is what in this sort of stuffing
This is a Duxelles, which is
bit posh. What does that mean?
well.
Bit of mushroom.
exactly.
Charlotte
Mushroom
call it mushroom mash, actually.
Oh right. it tastes really lovely.
It really is so full of that wild mushroom flavour, isn't it? It's great.
It gives it a lovely earthy flavour.
Mmm.
And the spinach is cooked
Oh.
to perfection,
Great
actually.
spinach. Wonderful. And finally, Cointreau ice cream with a blueberry coulis. Beautiful, very, very, very dark blueberry coulis and hazelnut cookies. Let's try. I'm going to do this in stages, I think. So as not
Oh,
to
I'm
get
going to
too-
mix mine up together.
I
You're
just-
supposed to eat them together.
Yeah, but I
aren't you?
didn't want to get too
Well,
overexcited.
I want to get the taste of the Cointreau ice cream first.
Oh,
I want to know.
Why didn't you pick that up elegantly instead of just bashing it to bits?
because I'm a hooligan.
What a mess.
This blueberry
I'll have a bit
coulis
of the
is
edge.
absolutely
It's nice because it's very
extraordinarily
natural.
good.
There's no,
Yeah.
not too sweet.
Just wonderful. Blueberry.
Oh, the biscuits are lovely.
And
Well,
those biscuits.
what's nice about the ice cream is that it's smooth. She's done very extremely
And the
well
nice
there.
little bits of apricot that you can add.
Orange.
That's apricot.
Orange. Don't argue with the judge.
I told you I could taste orange at first.
Come on.
I thought the bits of fruit were apricot.
No.
Noriko is starting off her meal with seafood dumplings. And these have been stuffed with tiger prawns and crab meat. And the dipping sauce is to go with them?
Yes, please.
And what is that? Is that soy and...
And wasabi.
Soy and wasabi.
Ooh.
Oh, good.
We've just been to Japan, so we've had a lot of this. It's wonderful.
And wonderful.
The seafood flavour is
Filling is
really
just
strong. It's
terrific,
It's
isn't
wonderful. The flavour was lovely.
Chicken sauté in ginger sauce with Japanese mushroom fritters, parsley rice, and sitting on a 3-colour vegetable stir fry. Very beautiful. I'm going to have one
I'm
of
going to
these
try a
mushroom
mushroom too.
fritters.
I love mushrooms.
Because I love these little mushrooms that grow in a cluster. And it's sort of like a tempura,
It is a little, isn't it?
but not quite. Earthy.
Very earthy. Bit tough, arguably.
No,
Is that the nature of the mushroom?
The nature of it. I think that's about right.
All right.
I'm going
Oh,
to
the
try.
meat is lovely. Not very gingery. The ginger's very... Oh, hang on, I'm getting an afterburn.
Hang on, you'll get it. You'll get it.
It'll come
Kicked
through.
in.
And the parsley sort of cleanses the palate a little bit. You know, it takes away the sharpness of the ginger and works very well together.
I've never had rice with parsley before, and that
No, I
really
think
is
it's
very
wonderful.
fresh.
And then marble chocolate mousse with raspberry and cassis sauce with fresh fruit. I think you should start, Jenny.
Do you? I wonder
Yeah.
why you suggested that.
You were doing your imitation of an exocet, homing in on it. Oh, that is very pretty, actually.
Oh, the chocolate mousse is heavenly.
Oh, that's a great mousse. It's so light.
Oh, it's really light. Very, very, very chocolatey.
That is very chocolatey.
And is it a sort of white chocolate and a brown chocolate?
It's a marbling, yeah.
It's beautiful. Look at that. That's really clever.
Great
And-
mousse,
and
because
the,
they can
and the
get
sauce
awfully...
is just sharp enough to set against
Yeah, just right.
the sweetness.
Okay, you're all doing very well. You're not flagging. And
Not flagging at all.
finally, here we are to see what Andrew has whipped up in the blue kitchen. And he is kicking us off with a mixed herb salad with quail's eggs, pancetta, and parmesan shavings. And that's been dressed with a basil oil and balsamic vinegar dressing.
I'm going to try quail's egg.
To me, this is what a salad
Great
should
quail's
look
egg.
like, because it's just
Colourful.
Bit of
It's
fun.
got and got lots of textures in
Yeah,
it too.
bit
which
of
is
fun.
Very nice.
nice leaves.
It's balsamic vinegar, yes?
Yes. And basil oil.
Such
And
a
basil oil.
good, such
Yeah,
a
it's
good
got a nice
flavour.
flavour to
Really
it.
nice. And it's a very light dressing too.
It's a very nice combination.
Not
It's got
greasy
lots of-
or
it's got-
oily at all.
It's got lots of goodies in it.
It's a nice combination of lettuces too.
Yeah.
And the use of pancetta is unusual.
Delicious. And we then move on to the poached turbot on creamed spinach and fresh tagliatelle with tomato, butter sauce and roast cherry tomatoes. Great colours.
Turbot is your favourite fish, isn't it?
Turbot is one of my favourite fishes.
Try the sauce first.
Should I try the sauce first? Very tomatoey.
It is, isn't it? Well, it's just basically pure tomatoes with a little bit
Oh,
of
it's
butter.
good that. Great
With the
turbot.
fish.
It's just a perfect bit of turbot.
And it was nice the way he cooked it, sort of in the oven, just
Yeah.
wrapped in
Very
in foil.
simple.
Yes.
And just with a bit of shredded basil on top of it, a little chiffonade.
There was some lemon juice there too, just to sort of, and some grated lemon peel, which you should sort of discover as
You
you
can
eat
taste
it.
the lemon actually.
Very
Oh,
nice
the fish is-
tagliatelle.
It's such a firm,
Yeah.
meaty fish,
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
a cool fish.
And just the right amount of seasoning too.
Excellent. An almond tart with amaretto ice cream. That's very beautiful looking.
Oh. Shall we try the pastry? Since oh, you're going to do it with a spoon. I thought I'd avoid doing that. Oh, this is another fabulous pastry, isn't it?
It's a great pastry.
Melts in the mouth.
Yeah.
And the ice cream is so rich, isn't it? Really.
And that's all
creamy.
worked very well. Just the right amount of almonds.
Absolutely perfect
Really
combination.
good.
It's a nice combination, isn't it?
It's gorgeous.
Now, shall we do our difficult work? and judge.
be very
just
difficult.
Follow me to the judgely huddle. Okay?
All right, I'll have a quick sip.
Bring some water with you.
Cointreau ice cream is very, very good. And the idea of zesting the orange into it, or apricot, or whatever it was, was very, very good. Nice meal. I mean, you know, you have to sort of
My only reservation about it is the blueberry sauce, which I wasn't too sure. But I thought it looked perfect. It balanced, every course balanced the other. And the pastry was fantastic. If I could cook pastry like that, I'd be in heaven.
The chicken sauté and ginger, I thought, was pretty much on the money in every respect. It was very beautifully cooked, and there wasn't too much ginger. And I love the parsley rice and the stir fry.
As for the chocolate mousse, well, it was very, very light, and you know, it takes a lot of work to produce a mousse like that.
The fish was cooked to perfection, and I think fish is very hard to cook to perfection. And the pudding, gorgeous.
Yeah, great pudding.
Great
Very,
pudding.
very well. I thought
Really
the salad
well.
was excellent. Maybe the dressing could have been a little bit more pronounced. I think that it kind of got lost with the parmesan. You've got the sort of strength of the parmesan and the saltiness of the pancetta. The dressing could have come through a little bit.
I know what
I know what I think.
And I know what I think.
And we're all going to go for a different one, aren't we?
We've deliberated, cogitated and digested and come to our conclusions that have let us choose the last semi-finalist for MasterChef 1996. Before I reveal who that is, a few words from my guest judges. Jenny?
I'm just very impressed by each of these cooks coming up with a great culinary feat. Perfect pastry, absolutely perfect, an immaculate chocolate mousse, and perfect tagliatelle.
See. Jonathan?
Very difficult decision. Very impressive. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I thank them for all their hard work today.
Well, it was an intense and bitterly fought judging session, I must say. And one thing that we were unanimous about is how wonderfully well we've been fed this evening. So thank you all very much. The winner in London's new MasterChef for 1996 is Charlotte Bircher. Many, many congratulations to all of you, and especially to Charlotte Bircher, who we can look forward to seeing again in the semi-finals, which start next week. Joining me for the first of them will be another of MasterChef's good friends, Eugene McCoy, who with his two brothers, Peter and Tom, runs one of our production team's favorite eating places in England. Alongside Eugene will be restaurant owner and dress designer supreme, Nicole Fahy. Meanwhile, a huge thank you to Jenny Murray and Jonathan Wicks for joining us for supper. Thanks to Charlotte, Noriko, and Andrew for cooking that supper to perfection. And see you all next week, we hope, for the first of the semi-finals of MasterChef 1996.
And that first semi-final next Sunday will be at the earlier time of 4:10. And Lloyd Grossman hosts a brand new food quiz. Eat Your Words begins at 12:05 tomorrow here on BBC One.
It's a real class struggle.
There is a huge tale of underachievement that is very worrying.
Many of our children just aren't making the grade.
If progressive methods mean that children leave school without being able to read, to write and to do simple arithmetic properly, then the progressive method didn't work.
Is it time to think again?
Our teachers must consider a greater use of whole class teaching than is common in the majority of primary schools.
Hard Lessons. Panorama, tomorrow at 9:30 on BBC One.
Songs of Praise comes from Heathrow in 25 minutes, with Diane Louise Jordan joining in today's 50th anniversary celebrations. First on BBC One at 5:45, the news from Chris Lowe.
Tackle your queries, also offering their tips for a healthier lifestyle. And on the road, reporters track down the emergency services as they meet the needs of their community wherever they are. Drop in on Annex Morning Surgery beginning tomorrow at 9:20 on BBC One.
This week in No Bananas, emotions are running high.
It's because he's Jewish, isn't it? That's what this is all about.
Family secrets are uncovered.
You think he is a traitor?
Just make sure there is nothing for Special Branch to find.
And old prejudices die hard.
I'm not ashamed of my life!
No Bananas, tonight at 7:30 on BBC One.
Some priceless moments before that on BBC One with another memorable Antiques Roadshow.